Settled by two deserters who lived in the tree, the center of the Methodist faith in West Virginia, and a famous festival named after a strawberry, I'm Wayne Worth, and you're watching On the Road in West Virginia, R55 counties, Upshur County. Yes, we start the story of Upshur County with the infamous John and Samuel Pringle, who during the French and Indian War deserted their post at Fort Pitt. Deserting your post in the 1750s and 1760s usually meant swift justice was coming your way, brought to you in part by the British Army and a musket ball to the chest. With that scenario playing out in the back of their minds, the Pringle brothers did what it took to seek refuge in the most low-key place they could find, and there's no better place than in the middle of a hollow sycamore tree. John and Samuel would make this tree their home for about 3 years, and at the end of the French and Indian War, when they were no longer considered deserters, they decided that living in a tree was hard on their back, and it would make the Buckhannon area their permanent home. Now, during the latter part of the 1700s, many families started to settle in the Buckhannon Valley. However, one rather interesting migration to what we call Upshur County today were the settlements in the French Creek area. Many settlers from New England at the turn of the 19th century started coming in droves as the Ruggles Woodbridge Land Company acquired much of the land of what we call Upshur County today and started selling plots to these New Englanders. Unfortunately, by the 1830s, due to many of these settlers having no clear deeds to their property, abandoned their settlement and hightailed it west where land was plenty. Now, Upshur County, for the most part during the Civil War, didn't see a lot of action, but it saw a little here on Water Tank Hill. Water Tank Hill in Buckhannon was just one of 9 stops on Confederate General Albert Jenkins' raiding tour of West Virginia. During his brief sweep of Buckhannon, he marched the prisoners to the courthouse and made them set fire to all their weapons and ammunition, causing extensive damage to the structure. On the night of August 31st, 1862, all of downtown Buckhannon was pretty much lit up like a torch, as the raiders also burned people's personal belongings and supplies vital to the town's functioning. The only other raid in the county took place at Rock Cave. This raid on the Upshur militia was similar to the Jenkins raid on Buckhannon. However, the Confederate forces under Major J.K. Kessler managed to capture 70 militiamen, which resulted in 38 of them dying while in captivity. Now, 1883 brought many changes to the county, and it started with the railroad. Both the West Virginia Central and Pittsburgh and later Henry Gasaway Davis's Coal and Coke Railway brought significant industry to this area as timbering and coal mining started to flourish. Much of the mountainous southern end of the county experienced a boom in timber, and other places like Lawrence and Adrian grew into big coal mining communities almost overnight. This was the early 1900s though, and canaries were used to measure how much methane gas was in the mines. Sadly, in 1907 an explosion happened near Lawrence and took the lives of 12 men. One date that most of us do remember is January 2nd, 2006, a day where time just stopped in this community. It has been said that the Sago mine disaster was a result of a lightning strike which ignited methane gas in a recently sealed area of the mine. The explosion blew out the seals and filled the mine with smoke and deadly levels of carbon monoxide gas. There were 13 miners waiting to be rescued. However, only one of the 13 men were alive when the rescue teams reached them. Today, the community of Sago has a memorial wall to honor and remember the 12 miners who lost their lives. As for the coal industry in Upshur County, it has declined over the years due to mechanization, tougher environmental policies, and also the abundance of cheap natural gas in the region. However, Buckhannon was able to redefine itself economically over the years, and one institution that plays a major role in this is West Virginia Wesleyan College. The college was initially opened in 1890 as the West Virginia Methodist Conference Seminary and over time added college-level studies. In 1906, the college was named its present name, West Virginia Wesleyan, in honor of John Wesley, the father of Methodism. The college is still affiliated with the United Methodist Church and still hosts annual meetings of the Methodist Conference. However, today the college is primarily a traditional liberal arts and sciences institution. Now, we couldn't leave out Upshur County's most celebrated festival, named after my most celebrated fruit. Well, the West Virginia Strawberry Festival really got its name as a way to honor strawberry growers throughout the region and our state. Since 1936, this now week-long celebration in Buckhannon is geared towards promoting agriculture and strawberry growers throughout West Virginia. Agriculture and farming in Upshur County is a pretty big deal, so big that the headquarters of the State Farm Bureau is located here. And yes, there are also carnival rides, craft shows, and an annual parade. And if strawberries, parades, and crowds are not your thing, there is always the game farm here at French Creek. Well, it's really called the West Virginia State Wildlife Center. It was established in 1923 to aid in repopulating a variety of wildlife species throughout our state. The Wildlife Center has more than 20 species within its borders, which represents the type of wildlife one can see here in West Virginia. Heck, even French Creek Freddy lives here, and every February 2nd he comes out of his hole and predicts the weather for the next 6 weeks. I'm Wayne Worth, and until next time, always remember, what we value and hold important to our lives today came from events that happened yesterday, and it's when we begin to understand the events of yesterday that we fully embrace today, which makes tomorrow become less of a mystery.